I'm a new pool owner, and it turns out you have to change your filter occasionally. So I looked into it and there was a lot of information. I got really overwhelmed very quickly. So I reached out to my friend Mark from Doheny's to help me figure out which kind of filter I might need and make sense of it. Okay, I need to replace my pool filter. Which kind do I need and where do I even start?
Yeah, it can be a little confusing, and I would always tell people if you have an existing pool, stick with the filter that you have on the pool.
So basically you're saying dance with the one that brought you. When you own a pool, the reality is at some point you're gonna have to replace your filtration system. I tried to look online, got a little overwhelmed. So walk me through, what are we looking at?
This filter right here, it's bullet shaped, we call it a bullet style tank. This is what we call a cartridge filter.
Okay.
It's basically filtering water. But the cool thing about a cartridge filter is when it's dirty, you're gonna take it over your garden hose it off, put it back in,
Nice.
put the top back on. If you're looking for the ultimate in ease, have a second cartridge filter on hand and you can just flip them out.
This seems very straightforward. I'm sure I'll find a way to make that more complicated.
So what you have here is a tank that houses 250 to 400 pounds of sand, depending on the size of the tank. The water is pumped from your pool, gets washed over the sand. Water then gets pulled down, grabs the clean water, doesn't let the sand come in, pushes the clean water back into the pool.
Okay, got that.
This is what we call a DE filter, okay?
And what does DE stand for?
Diatomaceous earth.
Diatomaceous earth. It sounds like a Discovery Channel documentary.
Instead of using sand, which we all know what sand is, it uses what we call a DE powder.
Okay.
And it's a very, very fine powder. It's very light. And what you do with that is you just simply add powder to water, a bucket of water, and you pour that into the skimmer. The skimmer pulls it into the filter, and it coats these alien-looking fingers.
Okay, walk me through the pros and cons of each different type.
A cartridge filter will filter water down to 5 to 7 microns. A sand filter usually is 7 to 10 microns, and this gets down to 1 to 3 microns because that powder is so fine.
Let's say I drop a dime in my pool.
Yeah. If that dime is in the water,
Yeah.
okay, and you have a cartridge or a sand filter, okay, you're gonna say, hey, there's something down in the bottom of the pool.
Okay.
With a cartridge filter, you'll be able to look down there and say, hey, there's a dime down there. DE filter, you'll be able to look down at the bottom of the pool and say, it's a dime and its tails.
And it's from 1925.
A DE filter can filter down finer particle.
Yeah.
It is more difficult to learn how to use. It's gonna take some feel with how much powder to put in, when to put it in, when to change it, etc. A sand filter is a little bit easier, just simply because you have a pressure gauge which is going to tell you when to backwash.
Okay.
So once it gets to a certain level, you're basically going to take some water from your pool, flush out the yucky. And a cartridge filter, I think, is easier because you'll follow the same rules with a pressure gauge. You open up the lid, you take out the cartridge, hose it off, put it back in, or exchange it or whatever.
Okay, I understood that. But if you were me, which one would you choose?
I would tell you what I would have on my pool, which is a cartridge filter.
Okay.
It's easier to use. It gets you in between quality of water. I'm a little lazy, so sometimes I have like 4 or 5 cartridges.
Okay.
So I can just flip them in and out. So if I'm busy and the pool's just needs change and the pool's a little cloudy or hazy, I can run outside, put a new filter in, put the old one aside. I'll get to it when I get to it.
Okay. So here's my question, like once you have the filter, I get in fights with my spouse about this. How often should you be using it? How do you figure out like how often to run it?
That's the most important question, to be honest with you, because I tell every customer that if you're gonna make an investment in your pool, start with the filter and your pump system, because it's the heart of your pool. It's the engine to your car, if you will. This thing is gonna give you sanity, or insanity. Run your filter nonstop. And I know that sounds crazy, and a lot of customers will look at me like that and say, but isn't that gonna cost a fortune?
Yeah.
And yes, it's gonna cost some money to do, but I will tell you very honestly, there's 2 ways we can fix a problem with water in your pool. We can fix it organically, meaning let the filter do its work, or you can come into my store with a bottle of water and say, help, but it's going to come with a costly price tag and chemical. I would be more proactive in this than reactive. where I would invest in the pump, and yeah, it's going to be an extra few bucks a month on your electric bill, but you're not going to have the hassle.
So it sounds like if you get this decision right, it can save you a lot of headaches.
Absolutely.
You heard it here first. Well, Mark, thank you so much for this help. It sounds like you have made this really important decision a lot simpler for me. And hopefully you all can do the same thing by visiting Doheny.com and make your pool questions a lot simpler. Be sure to like and subscribe. I know, it's a lot. It can be overwhelming to try to balance all the information and make all these different decisions. That's what's great about a place like Doheny's, and if you visit them at Doheny.com, you're going to be able to get that information to help you make the right decision at the right time. Make sure you like and subscribe so that we can help you find the right answers to the right problem.